Have you ever packed something to take on a hike that made you later do the old face palm? Today, we are diving in my personal hiking hall of shame. Now, this is gear that I thought was crucial to my trip, but it ended up being totally unnecessary. Stick around to discover the items that I probably should have left at home. Hi everyone, Mauser here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, as I have gone over in other videos, packing for a hike is an art. But back in the day, I was not so wise. And I'm not saying that I'm wise now, but I was saying back then I just really was like a million miles from wise. Now, I've had my fair share of oops moments with hiking gear on hiking adventures. Way to wreck a pair of $300 pants. And today I'm going to share some with you. So let's dive into my list of embarrassingly unnecessary hiking gear that I have taken on trips. So I'm going to run through these items in no particular order, and you're probably looking at me going, well, Mauser's been hiking for 30 years, he doesn't make mistakes out there, he knows what he's doing. Wrong. Back in the day, I used to take some stupid on the trail. I guess I was young and exuberant back then, I was young and silly, but hey, let's have a look at some of the silliest items. We're having a laugh today. Have a laugh at me, laugh with me, as I look back on these and think you are ridiculous taking that stuff on a trail. Let's dive straight in. First up is books. Now, I love a good read. I love a good book like the next guy. But lugging Lord of the Rings, the trilogy, through the wilderness, not my smartest moment. And just so you get an idea of why it wasn't my smartest moment, I mean, it's nice to take a book to read. But on a 26-day epic, this is the book I chose to carry. 26 days we headed out for. We had a food drop halfway. That was our only support. This thing I carried the entire way, this exact book, and I just weighed it a minute ago. It's like 950 grams, this book. I started the trip with about 36 kilograms, and I chose to carry this thing. And I didn't even finish it. Look at that, that's where I got up to in the book. I mean, ridiculous. Ridiculous, right? Good book, but hey. These days, with the world where we've got Kindles and things, that's nice. I don't even take a Kindle these days. I just read it off my phone. And admittedly, back then, we didn't have many other options, but if I had my time again, I just probably would not have taken a book on that trip. Speaking of books, and we're not just looking at stuff I've taken that's stupid today, we're looking at my friends as well. We're going to pick on them too. And my mate Walter, who was on that same 26-day epic trip, he took a similar sized book, a James Michener epic story, Space, I think it was called. And he got to the last 40 pages of that book. He had 40 pages left to go, and you know what? They were missing. The book, he got to the end of this book and the last 40 pages were missing, so he couldn't read the ending. Walter was lumbered with the same issue, couldn't finish the book, big heavy book, carried it the whole way. And while we're still on the topic of books, you know what else I took? I took Southwest Tasmania by John Chapman the whole way. This exact book, I took that as well. I took a journal to write in, a journal, this journal. I wrote in this thing, I mean, that is about 300 grams right there. What was I thinking? I wondered why my pack was so heavy at the start. You know what else I took on that trip? Sponge bag. What were you thinking? Again, on the same trip, I took this very nice little film camera, a film camera. That's where you had to put film in the back. Well, it was a good idea to take a camera. We didn't have phones back then to take photos, but I took this, and when you know, on day 2 of a 26-day trip, the battery ran flat and I didn't have a spare. So that's an item I should have taken that I didn't take. So I ended up carrying this for 26 days with no battery. Crazy. Now you're probably saying, well, surely that's the limit of silly stuff you'd take on a walk. Well, it isn't. There's more. And just a quick aside, if you're enjoying the video, if you enjoy this video, if you're enjoying others, if you haven't checked out others, check them out. But please like, please subscribe, please hit that notification icon. You'll get notified of our weekly videos. You can also sign up to the newsletter too. Right there, there's a QR code on the screen. Get your phone out, pop it up. Do that, sign up to the newsletter, and you'll get the monthly newsletter, short email from me each month with what I've been looking at, what's been taking my fancy, and what I'm up to. Meanwhile, let's get back to the video. Another silly thing I've taken in the past, binoculars. I'm not even a bird watcher. I took binoculars, you know, just so you could see a mountain over there or something. I mean, what? Crazy. Other things we've taken include a temperature gauge. I guess that kind of makes sense, but it was this like heavy thing. One of my mates, Troy, I'm naming you Troy, he takes Ugg boots when we go hiking. He'll have his Ugg boots. You know what Ugg boots are? Those fluffy boots. He'll take them for his camp shoes. They're about 1 kilo. But finally, one of the silliest items I've ever taken on a walk, I think. I bought it, I thought I expected big things from this. It was in 2014, heading out on a 10-day trip to a place called the Franklin Range in Southwest Tasmania. And I was getting into filming and making videos on trips back then, and the issue I had was I needed to carry lots of batteries, and we didn't have backup battery banks like we do now back then. It's only 10 years ago. So I thought, I was looking in for ways to charge my devices. I was looking at solar, I was looking at all sorts of things, and then I somehow stumbled across a mob called Brunton. And Brunton had just released this thing, the Brunton hydrogen reactor. Sounds fancy. And the way this worked is that you would put a hydrogen cell in there, which is basically a carbon, I don't know what's in there, it's a solid form of hydrogen. You would put that into this reactor, and then you would plug your device into the end, and this, by some magic, this hydrogen fuel cell would then result in a little power station setup, and it would charge your device. I actually rang this mob. I saw this online. I said, "Are these in Australia?" And the guy was very nice, and he said,
"Yes, they're in Australia. You should buy one."
I went, "I should buy one because that would be very good. It means I don't have to take lots of spare batteries." So I bought the reactor at the time, 2014, and bought some of these fuel cells to take. Spare fuel cells. I could have just carried spare batteries. Instead, I carried 4 fuel cells. They are heavy too. And I would take it down the track. First night, probably the second or third night actually, I took it out and thought, here we go, we'll charge up my camera battery, which is running a bit low. And well, it didn't really do much. It charged it for a few minutes, then it would stop, then it would charge it, and it would charge it very slowly. And all in all, this thing was absolutely useless. I found I didn't have a good experience with it. I tried it at home a few more times. I've got a new cell. I think that's a new cell in there. Maybe it goes out of date because I haven't used it since 2014. And yeah, that is probably the worst investment for hiking I have ever made, the Brunton hydrogen reactor. So I had a look online to see if you can actually still buy these things. I found the Brunton website, and it lets you add it to your cart. No way I'm buying one, but it lets you add it to your cart. I don't know if they're still out there. I don't know. My recommendation is stick with a battery pack like I've recommended before. But there you go. That is some crazy, stupid gear. There's plenty more gear I took over the years. These days, I think about it. I really have a ponder about what I'm taking. Is it's worth its weight that I've got to carry? If you want to see more about that sort of thing and how I sort of pack, how I sort of get organized for a trip, check this video out, or this one, both of them, check them both out, and you will learn a bit more and how not to pack stupid stuff like I have done over the years.